get these songs written with these people. So
Okay.
it was 9 days in New Orleans, 9 days in Los Angeles, 9 days. And I don't know why it kept being 9, but it was 9 a lot. 9 in Austin. And when we started the beginning of the real writing process for the record, we were on this cruise called the Capitol Jazz Soul Cruise. Yeah. And it's that was when I realized that Black people had found us. I was like, oh, hey.
Oh, the Soul Cruise.
Soul Cruise.
Soul Cruise.
Okay. Well, because we were the youngest group on the boat, and the headliners were like Sheila E. and Gregory Porter and Babyface and Teddy Riley. And I'm like, this is why a lot of Black people think that we aren't in the realm because we're not being played on the radio. Mm-hmm. But Black internet radio plays us a lot. And I'm like, oh, they do listen to us. They are finding us. Because sometimes you don't know if it's just some weird dude in a room with a bunch of phones just playing the song.
Wow.
Because that's what it is sometimes.
You didn't realize this by doing Kimmel or any of that,
No, I mean, because for a long time our audiences weren't as mixed as they are now. Uh-huh. It wasn't until we made a work of art that was reflective of everybody's personality.
I mean, it makes sense because the show that we saw, it was kind of Casper, but
and the audience.
Yeah.
But it's because.
But you also have these things where you're featured with a lot of rappers too.
Because Paul and Bun was there.
So that's when I play a game called It Ain't Me.
So you're like, hey, I'm still out here.
You know
what I'm saying? Like I just remember, like I said, my biggest introduction. I said my favorite song is Rob Gillette and You. I think that's just an incredible song. But it is a thing where it's like, and he's always like, oh, Cam is great. Cam is great. And you would hear all these rappers like Cam. And I'm like, okay. So you would think, okay, when that transfer over to the Suffers, like it's like, all right.
So when we did our Welcome to Houston collaboration with, I believe it was 9 rappers, the rappers didn't know, aside from Bun and Paul and who was the other one? Willie. Okay. The rappers didn't know that we were our own band.
Really?
It had been communicated to some of them, and this is like after we've done Letterman. We're on our little wave. They don't know. They're in their own world. Yeah. The world doesn't know us. We're not expecting people to know who we are. However, it was communicated to them for some reason that we were their backing band. And so there were a lot of moments during this time that occurred that, in retrospect, I'm still very glad that I made the decisions that I made, because it wouldn't have been a good look in the long term. I didn't allow cameras to come in. The people that were running that festival wanted to document it. And I said no to rehearsal recordings because none of them had sheet music. None of them knew what key their shit was in. None of them had a team that was, being very responsive, except for a few. And so I realized very early, okay, this is going to be fucking Wrangell City.
Yeah.
Let me get a grip. And so I talked to my band and I was like, all right, what's the most realistic? We knew everybody's music. So we laid out 25 songs and ended up cutting 2 of them because just 2 of the guys just didn't want to do them, and started learning them. I used to work in oil and gas years ago, but before I had my job, I was an executive assistant for 7 years. So I know how to get people organized. I know how to schedule. I know how to make a plan. So I send this insane email. It's insane. It's insane.
Nice way to put that.
It's insane.
Yeah.
But all red. I need to hear from you or someone from your team by X date, or this is what song we're doing. There will be no changes if I don't hear from you before this date. 3 months. It's a good amount of time. 3 months. I think it's a good amount of time. Then the week before, I sent another email. 1 more week. No changes. 23 songs. Put at the bottom. The show is happening on my birthday. I would like to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you would like to enjoy it. 2 of the managers didn't read my email. And then we had a few moments that I'm very glad were not recorded. And we ended up having a great show.
Okay.
Because I made it very clear early on in writing 6 times through my crazy email that I'm willing to learn whatever song you want to learn before this date.
Before the date.
Yeah.
Don't
But you
tell
know
me that
what?
morning.
You know what? We had a great show. I went to Office Max, Staples, got one of them giant ass post-it notes that stick, wrote out the set list 8 times everywhere. I saw many people take credit for a lot of things that I did that week, that me and my band did together. And we didn't get a lot of the credit that we should have gotten from that. No guidance.
Y'all took it upon yourselves.
But the rappers were wonderful to work with, and I was so glad that we were able to deliver their music the way that we heard it. However, Zero knows that I'm forever mad at him for not allowing me to do Mo City Dawn freestyle because I was ready.
Damn.
I was ready. I was ready, y'all. We were ready
He was
to
just
go.
like, nah, son.
He's
nah.
like, I
got
think
the
he said
congas?
something like, I want to do I Hate You Bitch instead or something. I was like, come on.
You got the congas, man.
We were ready. We were ready, but it's
I mean,
okay.
that's
It's okay.
though.
It's
Sometimes
all
he
right.
might get tired of it. Like
It's
he's like,
okay.
come on, again. I got
The set itself was a dream.
Yeah.
And while a lot of them didn't know us before, they definitely got to know us afterward. And, you know, I am so grateful for that because that's a moment that no one can ever really take from us. And, you know, anytime I get to work with a new rapper in Houston, except for a few of them who know who they are, it's always a wonderful opportunity.
You can drop
for
some
me.
names.
Nah,
I'm just playing with you.
they'd love
want to
that.
see. I
They
want
would.
to
They
see.
would love it.
Yeah.
No, 2020 should be filled with some gems. I'm excited. It's always a new experience for me anytime I get to perform with anybody. But especially when it's somebody that I love and respect or an artist that I've been wanting to work with for a while. It's awesome. I think the most recent one has been with DeLorean. And so it's Coachella. So it's like, oh, it's like this. I feel like this for me and my friends. Yeah. So, and then Paul has one with me that he's been sitting on forever. So I'm hoping that he'll drop it eventually because I'm just like, come on, please. But that's what happens. If you make something that's timeless, it doesn't matter when it comes out.
That's true.
They'll drop it.
That's absolutely
Isn't that so
true.
crazy?
Yeah.
And that's like we get so much pressure on us and be like, if you just make it to where you ain't trying to be in any genre, any year.
Yeah.
I like to think like all my music's like 2023 or 1984. Like what?
I feel
That's
your
the
music
goal you're
is
What
trying
year
to
is
set.
it? What year is it? I don't know.
It could be 1964. Your music's timeless.
Thank you. The next record I think is gonna have a little mix of everything. So we'll hear all. I mean, they're always everything on there, but we just put a little more care into some stuff this time around, and so I'm excited for people to just get to know this new version of us.
Okay.
That's dope.
What's the new album going to be called?
Who knows?
All right.
Who knows?
When's it
We're
gonna come out?
we're going very quickly, but at the same time, we're taking our time. I know it's a very like Yogi Bear thing to say, but it's that's what it is.
So we don't know what the new record's
We don't know
called
when
yet.
we don't know what's called. We don't know what's
coming
coming out. I have a feeling it will be this year.
Okay.
Like it's going pretty.
Got a feeling.
I got a feeling.
Yeah.
But if it comes out next year,
It is
just
what it
know
is.
It
that
just is what it is.
just know that we were just marinating.
Yeah.
That's it. We cooking.
Okay. Now, what else do we have in the works? Because I mean, you also do.
I do a lot of things.
Yes, you do a lot of things. So
Sure do.
besides, because I don't even mind if the album comes out next year, because it makes like y'all have busy schedules.
We do have very busy schedules.
Yes.
So where do I start? One project I'm really excited about. I just got awarded a grant by the City of Houston Art Alliance to create a chorus, which I'm calling I'm calling it the Bayou City Comeback Chorus, where I encourage former singers, retired singers, people that can sing that maybe are, that's just not what they do for a living or it's not what they do anymore. Just evening opportunity to come do a live recording, get a credit, so that if that's what you want to do again, maybe later, boom, you already have a resume item for yourself.
That's awesome.
And so that's going to occur later on this year. I have a lot going on during, St. Patrick's Day week and South by Southwest Music. So I'm doing a live solo performance / interactive songwriter, kind of like a VH1 storyteller kind of situation.
Okay.
That Texas Monthly's put together. That's happening there. I'm doing 2 super jams, one in Austin, one in Houston. The last one I did in Houston got a lot of press for having no real invitee list and not technically actually existing. I did this experiment. I got really stoned and I wanted to see if it would work, where
Pull it off.
I just invited like 75 friends and one of their friends to just come and jam with me.
Yeah.
I didn't send any reminders. I didn't send I didn't put anything up. The day before, I invited a few members of the press, and the day of, I invited some photographers, and it was packed. The talent was insane.
Nice.
I invited more women than anything. So you had all these female players that you might see one of at a jam, just kind of like that Spider-Man meme, like just what?
Yeah.
Oh my
We're
God.
all here.
We're all here. Oh my goodness.
Where was this?
It was at the Foundation Room.
Oh
in
no, I
House of
saw it.
Blues.
Okay, look, Rochelle
Super
Gemini.
Jam.
And some
Oh
of
yeah,
course, yeah.
It has a bunch of different names.
yeah, no, I'm just saying I saw it 'cause I was like, what was this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I said we didn't know anything about this.
I know
Okay,
no
we
one
covered it.
did. No, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. So the next one is actually going to be March 18th in
March 18th.
Houston.
Okay.
At the Foundation Room, and
All
then
right.
the one before it, it's only going to be 21 and up, unfortunately. The one before that is in Austin with this group called Vapor Caves at
Vapor
Empire
Caves, yeah.
Control Room. They're fantastic if you haven't heard of them.
Yeah.
They're one of our co-writers on the next record as
Okay.
well. Yeah, I'm all over the place.
That's good,
And
though.
so, and then that Thursday, have I got the Thursday yet? Yes. Well, the whole week, National Geographic's going to be down in Texas filming a documentary on the state. And so they've selected me as one of the subjects they want to follow in Houston.
Golly.
And so they're going to follow me to some spots. And we're going to do a little pop-up with the band that week. And then I'll have to invite y'all because that one, unfortunately, is not going to be a public show.
Oh, yeah, it's a pop-up.
And then-
You can't even say it
we
right
can't,
now.
We
Yeah.
can't. Not on this,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
you can't even say it.
They're going to be like, no, why'd you say
Yeah,
that?
that's in the contract.
And then there is no contract for that one. and then the rest of the year is mainly focused on touring. We're going back to Europe at the end of August.
Okay.
And then just a lot of touring in a lot new spaces. It's funny you were talking about just me being so pro-Black. I have tried to make sure that it's reflected not only in the way that I speak and the way that I immerse myself, but also in the places that I go to. I know that the United States is filled with amazing people everywhere. However, I know that I'm going to have a much better chance of playing in front of people that look like me
Yeah.
when I go to towns that actually have demographics that exist like that.
Yes.
And so I told my team last year, I want us to play more in Atlanta. I want us to go to Mississippi. I want us to go to Little Rock. I want us to go to Florida. And I know it's going to be different and it's going to be tough. However, if we put all this time into going to Idaho, into going to Portland, into going to Washington,
City, yeah.
Salt Lake City, and our fans in all these places are amazing, I just want to make sure that I'm giving the same amount of attention to these regions that haven't gotten that opportunity.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I know that it doesn't make sense to go to these new towns until I've built up. But if I'm playing the baby room in these places, a girl can build up.
Yeah.
It's harder. And so this whole year has been quite a reset for us between getting a new team last year, realizing, dang, our last record didn't do as well as we wanted it to do. What are the things that we can do better? because it's one thing that we appealed to a new market, but it's like if you're losing one market and not consistently keeping them, that's not the same as saying, oh, this record was bad, that record was good, because that's not what happened. It's the way that it was marketed. And so I want to make sure that we are focusing on putting out a product that sells itself rather than just doing any old thing and then just trusting them to market it, to folks. Because it's like, you got to have it both, And so I know that we can always, again, stand to just do a better job. And so that's where our focus is right now. It's just doing better.
Got to look at the analytics.
Shit.
Yeah.
But not too much.
Not too much.
I mean,
Wasn't that your job at a point?
Huh?
Wasn't that your job?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Music analytics is way more interesting to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got to redeem myself for this question. I was like, well, how did Katrina? No, I meant Harvey.
I was wondering.
Yeah.
I was wondering.
You tried.
Oh, Harvey was
Yo,
insane. It was insane. I didn't realize that it created a thing. Like I didn't know that I was freaking out after I went onto my first tour about my car. Every time it was raining at home, I was like, is my shit gonna get flooded? Like, and it didn't hit me until afterwards because nothing happened to my car during Harvey. But once I started going on the road, it created this like thing in me where I was like, my car's not high enough. Like, and so I just sold my car to get rid of it. Like, I was like, I don't need. And then I was like, wait, should I have done that? Yes, I feel better.
Free.
I felt free, but it broke my heart. There's so many people that were affected in such crazy ways that I knew personally, but I feel like everybody in Houston knew somebody that was affected directly. I'm so grateful that I personally didn't have to deal with that. However, you have a lot of survivor's guilt that comes with that. And it was also a very weird time for us financially as a group because we had missed a gig that was like a pretty big paying gig for us. And we had a big meeting before we left to go on the road to just say, you know what, we're not going to do this because this storm is looking way bigger than they're saying it is right now. And it looks like it's going to get worse. Yeah. The last thing we wanted to do is leave everybody's wife at home and with us being stuck in Richmond, Virginia. And luckily an opportunity came along for us to write a jingle for Kit Kat.
You sure did.
I wrote it that day. Choppy, my percussion player, had a baby the night that the storm came. Yeah. And so when I saw what happened, when I saw this opportunity come in, I had about 12 hours to write the idea. And so I went over to his house. He said he had Logic and I had played with it once. And so he's like, if you want to come over, you could try to get it. I was like, Choppy, I can do this. And he's like, okay, girl. And so I wrote this idea and I was just like, can you just add these drums for me? Because I didn't know how to do the drums in Logic yet. And got done with it that night. And I was like, I'm going to just send it. I was like, this is tight. This is tight, right? And he's like, I don't think I'm tired. I don't know. And he has a newborn. He's like, and he has all these people. Yeah. All these people are coming to his house all day long.
Like, what's going on?
I'm in his den.
We're writing for Kit Kat
on this laptop in the back room.
A hurricane just happened. There's a baby. There's a lot. And you did it.
They're like, what's she doing over there? She's like,
I did it. And I was just like, oh, thank you God, thank you God, thank you God, thank you God, because the bottom line was gonna be fucked, But at the same time, it was one of those moments where I was like, this is God being like, chill.
Yeah.
This is God being like, calm down.
Yeah.
It's fine. Do the work. And so now I'm at home these days, very immersed in Logic, very immersed in making my own everything, my own compositions, my own music. When I have an ounce of free time, I'm working on my solo record and, just enjoying it and having a really good time doing it.
That's good.
And,
you have a solo record coming out too?
I have multiple projects that I'm working on. So outside
and you're producing, you making beats?
Yeah. I have the Steppers. I have my record. I have Casino Mezzo with Lisa Harris, this opera singer. And then I have this new project that I just 2 days ago agreed to do with Jackie Benson. And then I have another project that I'm working on, but I can't talk about it yet because it's going to be really tight.
You're going to do a country record?
Oh, definitely.
I figured.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, because I can.
Yeah.
And so, I mean.
And you like country. So, yeah.
Most black people love country. America be on that bullshit and that limited mind.
Yeah.
You go to the Caribbean once, anybody that's actually been to real like Jamaica, St. Lucia, they singing country karaoke along with Rihanna.
I'm carrying your love with me.
Yeah, but with the accent. But and when I started listening to this other podcast, the Dolly Parton's America podcast, they started talking about how a lot of the folk singers in Africa grew up listening to her being played on the radio and other country artists.
Vocals.
And I'm just like, is this Texas? Like, how did this get to me? Like, I don't even know. But I don't know very many black people in the United States not in the United States, very many black people in Houston that love country the way that I do. Mm-hmm. And it's only because I think I haven't met them. But when I go to Nashville, I got homies that are, they're in the thick of it. There's this group right now called the War and Treaty, which every time I mention them, black people, they're like, I remember. I was like, have you seen Sister Act 2? And they're like, yeah. I said, Tanya Trotter, one of the singers for the War and Treaty, who back then was called Tanya Blount, is the other girl singing His Eyes on the Sparrow with Lauryn Hill. I said, you've heard her voice. Oh. But when I talked to her, she's like, man, she's like, most black people, she's like, they're finding us now. But at first, she said a lot of people thought she was dead because I think she said something about the Shade Room putting that she was dead, and it hurt her feeling so bad. And I was just like, I can't believe that. But we forget these people are real human beings.
Yes.
And so now it went from, I ain't heard of them, to they were part of the Grammy tribute, that like weird big ass thing that dude that was retiring. They came out during that, the black couple that came out singing and crushing it. That was my friends. And now they about to go open for John Legend. And so I'm like, I can't be worried about y'all. 'Cause same shit happened with John Legend when he came out.
Yeah.
Wasn't no people loving everything until after Ordinary People came out.
Yeah, that's true.
That's when I found him.
I mean, you just got to keep going and trust and have faith in God, and that's what or the universe, whatever you decide. That's when you keep going.
I'm down with G.O.D.
Yeah. That was a Sister Act reference, y'all. You down with G.O.D.? Yeah, you know me. You down with G.O.D.? Yeah, you know me. That was awesome.
I can't find it online anywhere, so if you can find that, let me know.
Really? You can't find that online?
The soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
It's difficult to find.
It's difficult to find anything.
Well, not anything, but that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's just difficult.
I hate you.
I'm about to say, it's a lot. It's great. It's easy to find everything online.
Yeah.
Except
That's how
for
we
like
did our
the
research.
one stuff you did.
Yeah, I know.
You're right.
But I love that y'all did research. I've done podcasts sometimes where it hasn't happened, so it's always cool when y'all do that.
I like to read. That way we can talk about something. You like to read, talk about something.
I'm like, look at the video. I give the secret. I always tell people, watch the videos, read the comments.
Don't tell people our secret. No, I'm just messing.
Don't read the comments.
I read all the comments and I press buttons. They'd be like, "That's my sister." Then I look at that person's page.
He really does.
I read
because he'll be
everything.
like, because he'll literally be on there, and then this person will be like, "Yo, you know my uncle." He's like, "Your uncle friend commented on the page like 4 years ago."
But then you'll be like, their uncle's friend sings for the Commodores or something like. So it's like,
Oh, wow.
that's how I found
That's
out
random.
a lot of That's how I found Chad Black. That's how I found him. He gonna punch me.
Hi, Chad.
Yeah, I love him to death.
Okay.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, it's been, in my humble opinion, I really want to thank you for coming.
I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy that you came. You gave us a great episode.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for giving us your time, because I know you're extremely busy, like extremely.
Well, right now I'm just extremely hungry, so.
As am I. So, hey, we're just going to get out of here. It's been another In My Humble Opinion podcast. I've been your host, Carlton Banks. We have our co-host over there, Jess Devon. Boom. Yeah, Jess Devon. I love it.
Okay.
We got to add some bravado. That's what it is. We've been here with Kam Franklin of The Sufferers. Yes, In My Humble Opinion podcast. Yeah. Yeah. In my humble opinion podcast, just know that somebody wants to listen to you. If you are going through anything, just talk to your friends. Mental health is a really big deal, and people do care. So don't think that nobody cares about you. In my humble opinion, where the opinions aren't humbled and the words aren't jumbled. Good night. Goodbye.
All right.
Bang.